Good evening everybody. It is time for another video about Dutch grammar. And today I want to introduce you to the first video I'm going to do about the articles in Dutch. Specifically about the difference between de and het. It's a pretty difficult topic, I would say. Many people struggle with this, even though they have a very high level of Dutch already. I'm going to do this topic in many small videos because since there are only two options, this can be something that is easily getting confused in your head. You mix them up and we don't want that. We want it to be clear. So for the first video I will introduce you to the two most important two main rules about de and het, which you probably already know, and I will introduce two more rules on de. So that's what I will be doing. Every lesson I will introduce two rules. I will start with all the rules of de, and then I will write here the exceptions, because there are always exceptions, right? So, but first of all, the two main rules. A word in Dutch, and I'm talking about a noun, a substantive, it is always either a de word or a het word. That is a property of the noun. In other languages, for example in Spanish, you have feminine and masculine. In Dutch we don't have feminine nor masculine, we have de and het. Alright? Just for you to know, I will always be writing de on this side in blue and het on that side in red or orange. Okay? So the most important and most dominant rule that we have is that the words, no matter which property it has, as soon as you put them into plural, and if you make a word plural, so more than one, so not book but books, in Dutch it would be boeken. As soon as a word is plural, it becomes automatically always de. Right? Always. Really, there is no exception to this rule. So plurals are always de. Okay? I have this double lining here because this is the very most important and the most dominant rule. Later I will get back to that, what I mean with dominant. Okay? Then the second main rule about Dutch articles is that words that you make small with je, we call it the diminutives, they are always het. Alright? So I will call it diminutives. And just to be clear, I will write here je, because the diminutive always ends in je. So that makes the word small. So we're not talking about a house, but a little house. See, huisje, right? Let me put some examples here. So a plural word would be, for example, de boeken, or de auto's. Yeah? And two examples of diminutives would be het huisje, het, let me think, for example, autootje, autootje, right? So those are the two most important rules, and they are like dominant, more dominant than any other rule I'm going to explain to you from now on, right? So these are the two main important dominant rules. Okay, now I have one question for you. If we would write the word huisjes, would it be de or het? It is a diminutive with je, but it's also plural. That's where we get to the dominant part. So the plural rule is more important. So it would be de huisjes. Alright? Just in case you might bump into this situation. So that's what I mean with dominant. Alright. So, now that you know the two most important rules, you probably already heard about them, I'm going to introduce the new rules on the words. Okay, the first one is people and professions are always the words. So, for example, de man, de vrouw, the man, the woman, de docent, de alcoholist. So, anything that's a person, de koning, de prinses, can be de secretaresse, right? Anything that's a person is de. There is only one exception to this. So it doesn't matter if it's female or masculine, that's not the case, that's not important in Dutch. So every person or profession is de. I will write here the exception to this rule. But one exception to this rule is het kind. This means the child, het kind. Alright. Second rule I'm going to introduce to you today is that words that end with ing, so you have something, a word, and it ends with ing, then it's also always de. Let me put some examples here. De kleding. Kleding means clothes, the clothes. De kleding. De opleiding, this means the study. De opleiding. De pudding, right? Custard. De pudding. I will not write all my examples, but I will read some to you. Just if it's not a problem if you don't understand all these words, but if you do, it can be helpful. If you recognize the word, you will be like, oh yeah, alright, so now I can remember from now on, this word is the de word. So we have de kleding, de aanbieding, which is like the offer or discount. De koning, the king, which was already de because it's a person, but with ing it's actually double de. Doesn't change anything, but there's two ways how you can discover that that word is de. De opleiding, we saw it here. De afdeling is department. De rondleiding is a guided visit. De scheiding, the divorce. De piercing, well, it's a piercing. De voorbereiding, the preparation. De voeding, which is the food, and the opvoeding, which is the education of the children. So here you have some examples of ing words, and ing words are always de. Of course there's an exception, and the only exception here is het ding. You will see also that many words that end with ing are a bit longer words, at least 2 syllables. The only word that I could find is that's 1 syllable, and that happens to be also the only exception is het ding. So this means the thing. It's a very useful word. So try to remember that it's het ding. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm only missing a few examples here. Let me just write it down for you. De man. De vrouw, de dokter, de fietser, so the man, the woman, the doctor, the cyclist, they're all people or professions, so they're all de. Alright, well that was it for today. If you want to follow up on these videos about de and het, you can subscribe to my channel. I would really like it if you did that, or if you give my video a like, Comments are also always welcome. I actually recommend you just take some time before you watch the next video, just to not get confused. Just try to pay attention to whichever Dutch words you see this week. And if you recognize any ing words or people or profession, then just be conscious about it. Oh yeah, I just learned that is a de word. That was it. Thank you for watching and see you soon.